Welcome to Worst to Best, the series where we look at the worst of something all the way to the best of something. This episode, Dragon Ball Super, 131 episodes, 6 arcs, and they all suck! Hey guys, welcome to my new series, Worst to Best, where we take something Dragon Ball related and we rank it from worst to best. So Dragon Ball Super has had its ups and downs for me, and I think that'll be very noticeable in this video, but today we're going to be ranking the Dragon Ball Super story arcs from worst to best. Let's go! First up, the absolute worst arc of Dragon Ball Super history, and the shortest arc of the entire series, the Copy Vegeta arc. Now, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. F*** this arc. Next up, we have the Golden Frieza Saga. So the Golden Frieza Saga is Dragon Ball Super's second arc, and it's based around retelling the events that occurred in Resurrection F. Of course, there's a few Dragon Ball Super changes, like Captain Ginyu's return. So this arc had a few good moments, such as some good training scenes, some interesting filler with Mr. Satan, a neat little badass scene with Vegeta, and yeah, that'll do it. So why is this closer to the worst section on the list? Well, let's have a look. Firstly, this arc felt like a drag, and I really mean it. During my first ever watching of Dragon Ball Super, back when I was waiting for episodes on a weekly basis, I actually stopped watching around the time that Goku and the Frieza fight came around. And this was for a few reasons, actually. Mainly regarding this, though. This played a major part of me stopping my watch of it. This arc as a whole feels like it's trying to tell the story of Resurrection F as quickly and as cheaply as possible. Now, I get it. The events that occur in Resurrection F are important to the overall Dragon Ball Super story. Sort of. Are they? Well, what was actually achieved in Resurrection F? Super Saiyan Blue. Cool. I love the movie Resurrection F, don't get me wrong, and my favorite thing about that movie is the fights. The fights were epic in this movie. In the anime, however, not so much. There isn't really much going for this arc of Dragon Ball Super, and for that reason, I'm placing it as the worst arc. Well, the worst actual arc of Dragon Ball Super. Next up, Battle of Gods, or God of Destruction Beerus Saga. So this is the first saga of Dragon Ball Super, set directly after the events of Kid Buu. It tells the story of Beerus and Whis coming to Earth, and Beerus fighting the Super Saiyan God. Now, let me give you a little bit of background info on this arc. So I've been watching Dragon Ball Super from the beginning. Episode 1, when it first aired, I was actually there watching the original livestream, and I had no idea they were just going to retell Battle of Gods. I thought we were going to get into some new content straight away, and yep, the first 27 episodes were just retellings. So whenever I recommend Dragon Ball Super to someone, I always say this: watch Battle of Gods, the movie, then watch Resurrection F, the movie, and then start with episode 28. And the reason why, I personally feel like the movies are a much better and quicker alternative to the first 27 episodes of the series. Sure, they have their differences, but overall, I think the movies are better. Back to the arc though, I do like it. There are many flaws. However, as a whole, the arc made some changes that were really enjoyable. The slice of life episodes at the beginning of the arc were a charm. It was interesting to see the initial Beerus fight against the Z Warriors on a boat, and a few other things were good. But what don't I like about this arc? Well, similar to the last entry on this list, it had an expectation to be on par with the movie, and it wasn't. Although it had some moments you cannot get in the movie, I still prefer the movie. Even though I like to think of Dragon Ball Super and its arcs as their own thing, it's hard not to compare it to the movie, so therefore, it's on the worst side of the list, 6 out of 10. Right, 28 episodes into Dragon Ball Super, and we finally get our glimpse of the newest content, and boy, it was actually quite good. Well, most of it. The Universe 6 arc introduces us to the first glimpse of another universe, Universe 6. Basically, Beerus and his brother Champa organize a tournament. 5 of the strongest warriors from each of their universe will fight each other for the grand prize of Earth. Yeah, typical Dragon Ball with this one. So this arc had a lot of new lore introduced into the Dragon Ball universe, such as the whole concept of multiple universes, Xeno, the Super Dragon Balls, and it also introduced some awesome characters, like Hit, and Fat Beerus. Overall, this saga was made for some fights, and boy, did we get a few. Goku vs. Botamo was, Frost vs. Goku was, Piccolo vs. Frost, alright, it was cool seeing Piccolo in action, but, come on, man. Vegeta vs. Frost, Not much to say about this one. Vegeta versus Megetta was interesting. Vegeta versus Cabba was actually really dope. Vegeta versus Hit, I wouldn't really call this one a fight, but it was alright. And then Goku versus Hit, damn! This was a turning point for Dragon Ball Super. A major one. The fighting, the introduction of Super Saiyan Blue infused with Kaioken, seeing Goku overcome Hit's time skip, and most importantly, the freaking animation. The animation was a problem for me with Dragon Ball Super, and this changed all of that. Overall, I'm gonna give this arc an 8 out of 10. It was epic. Alright, so here's one that I'm actually really happy we got. When it was originally announced that future Trunks would be returning to Dragon Ball Super, I was so hyped for it. Then we got the reveal poster, and everyone was shocked. An evil Goku? Yeah, think about this for a second. Could you imagine going back in time and telling your younger self that Dragon Ball would come back in the future, and there would be a saga where future Trunks is fighting with an evil Goku? Damn! That's like 20 fan theories in one. The future Trunks arc revolves around Trunks, as he returns to the past to get help from Goku and Vegeta to stop the evil Goku Black, which ends up being a huge battle that surpasses time and space, with Supreme Kai's getting involved, God of Destruction's getting involved, and hey, spoiler alert, even Xeno pops in for a few rounds. This arc completely changed the tone of Dragon Ball Super, as it was the first real serious arc we received, and man, it was executed great. The direction, the character development, the fights, the animation, woo! Even Vegito ended up returning. But you know what the main thing that let me down? The one thing that let me down? I recommend you watch my top 5 worst Dragon Ball Super episodes video to hear more on this if you want to, but to put it simply, the ending! I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. It would have been perfect, it would have been an 11 out of 10, but the ending knocked it down 2 numbers. And the best arc of Dragon Ball Super is really a no-brainer, the Tournament of Power arc, also known as the Universal Survival arc. This is the final arc of Dragon Ball Super, and boy, it's an arc. With 54 episodes, this is Dragon Ball Super's longest arc, and it makes for some of Dragon Ball Super's greatest moments. To put it simply, if you weren't a Dragon Ball Super fan prior to the Tournament of Power, chances are this arc would bring that change to you. Telling the story of the Tournament of Power, which is a multi-universal tournament with 10 fighters from 8 universes battling it out in a battle royale. Originally, when I heard that this tournament would be a battle royale structure, as opposed to regular tournaments we see in Dragon Ball, I wasn't too sure how they would execute it, but I can safely say, amazing. This arc had some great moments, character arcs, the introduction of all the other universes was awesome, so many great characters were introduced, so many not so great characters were introduced, and overall it was a perfect arc. There were a few problems, but screw it, I'm saying it's perfect. This arc was one created purely for the fans, which is why it was a perfect Dragon Ball Super arc. This arc wasn't overly too dark like the previous one. The only consequence of the tournament is that existence would be erased, but all good. Overall, it was a fun arc, because it was fights on fights on fights, and that's what Dragon Ball Super is all about. Now, there were a few things that weren't so great about this arc, like Universe 2, but overall, just seeing Frieza's return and evil shenanigans makes up for it. 10 out of 10, done. And that wraps up my ranking for the worst to best Dragon Ball Super arcs. Let me know what you thought of this video and list in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about my ranking and how you guys would rank the arcs yourself. Also, let me know if I should continue this series. If so, what should I rank from worst to best next? Hit that like button if you enjoyed and subscribe for some more epic Dragon Ball content, because you will not want to miss the next one. Alright guys, peace. Hey guys, before I forget and before we end off this video, I just wanted to give you guys a real quick announcement. So if you guys didn't know, I actually have an Instagram. You can go follow it at madmaker7, and I highly recommend you do. And the reason why is because I'm actually going to be posting a big announcement within the next week or so. So stay tuned over there on my Instagram and follow it if you haven't yet, and I'll be making that announcement in about a week. I don't really use Instagram much, but I kind of want to start using it a bit more just to interact with you guys, and that can be another way for you guys to engage with my content and get updates and all of that stuff. So yeah, just wanted to share my Instagram with you guys that didn't know. It's at madmaker7. Also, once again, feel free to leave any suggestions for what I can do with this worst to best series. If you like the series, what I could change about it. Maybe I can stop hating on Ribrian. That's a good suggestion. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it. Thank you for watching. Peace.